Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Mrs. Danielle DeVita. I am Danielle, and this is my husband, Lawrence.
What's up, guys?
So we're just going to do part two of our video. In the last video we talked about was how you can step up your game, how you can get your money up to get more earning potential as a man. So now we're going to talk a little bit more about the relationship side of it and how finances can make or break a relationship. You know, a lot of times when people are getting a divorce, we hear about irreconcilable differences, and now we can talk a little bit about how finances can affect that. And also, even before you even get into a relationship, like a marriage, just you kind of want to get your finances in order because it can affect your dating game as well. A lot of times we hear the term struggle love, because women feel like they're in a relationship where they're struggling financially, and everything is like on the woman. So we're going to talk a little bit about how to get your finances in order and what ways you can help improve your relationships by starting before you're in a relationship, how to be financially savvy with your money. So I'm going to let my husband do the talking because this is his expertise, so stay tuned. If you haven't, please visit my website, mrsdanielledevita.com. I have much content that is free that you'll be able to see. You can also book sessions with me. So please take a look at this site so you can get on your feminine journey.
Yeah, so thanks for having me today. Yeah, so when it comes to finances, obviously that's one of the biggest determining factors on if a relationship works. And usually when finances aren't viable in a relationship, usually that's when relationships fail, unfortunately. One thing I can say about finances would be, one, to make sure that you're transparent with your partner. So even going into a relationship, once you're getting serious, talk about your debt, talk about what you owe, credit cards, things like that. You don't want to wait till you get married and then, 3-4 years down the line, your partner finds out you have a 50 grand in credit card debt. That's not going to be a good conversation, I can tell you right now. So you definitely just want to be transparent with your partner around what type of debt you have and create a plan to be able to tackle that debt. Two would be to make sure as a man you're a leader in your household when it comes to finances. Now, does that mean you have to make the most money or you have to be the breadwinner? No, not necessarily. But being able to lead the way by properly budgeting in your own finances and creating a proper budget for your household as well. And to single ladies, you do the same thing. And even if you're a married woman and your man's not taking control of that piece, maybe that's something you can have a conversation about and get on the same page when it comes to properly budgeting out your month. Just by doing that, you're able to get a clear indication of the type of money that you're spending in your household, and you'll be able to see how much disposable income you really have versus how much disposable income you think you have. And what I mean by disposable income is money that you're not actively using to pay your necessities like your bills, food, clothing, things of that nature. Money that you truly can just utilize for just splurging, for lack of better words. Going out to the movies, having fun, going on vacation. That's your disposable income, and you want to be able to make sure that you're working in the bounds, if you will, of the money that you have. I would say 3 would be to not fight about money, but come up with solutions, right? So, there's going to be times when, one partner may be spending more than the other. It's not the time to have an argument. What you guys need to do is sit down and come up with a solution. Be humble enough to come to the table and admit your wrongs on both sides, not point the finger, and then come up with a plan to be able to take those and tackle those wrongs head on. I like to say leave your ego in the parking lot, right? the quickest way to end a fight is to apologize and be humble and admit your mistakes. So that's another way to improve your finances. Number 4, be consistent and persistent and persevere at everything you do in your career. And what I mean by that is, don't be someone who sits on the sidelines while everyone else is moving and progressing in their careers. Do things to make sure that you're progressing. If the company you're with is not valuing you, if you've been there for a number of years and you haven't seen an increase, then really understand your worth in the market. Find a company that does a similar thing, and then and see if you can get hired on there to make more money. One key thing is, if you have experience, there's always a company that's willing to pay you more if you can find them. So know your worth. Be persistent on your job at building, at getting promotions, things like that. That's called hustling right there. That's what you want to do to be able to grow your wealth and to grow your finances long term and put your family in a better position.
Yeah. And one last thing, what we do, and you don't necessarily have to do it, because he mentioned about separating your bills from your play account, like splurging versus things for rainy day account. It's best to separate your accounts so you don't dip into those funds. And we have, because we get direct deposit in, we have a split, so the money goes into those accounts. So you need to see how much of bills you have. So if 80% of your income is going to go to bills, then you need to have only an account for bills and 80% of that income, because now you can have direct deposit where you can put the percentage. So if 70-80% goes there, then you can do that. Then you can have 10% go to play money, another 10% go to rainy day. So if something happens to the car, or something happens with your children, hospital bills, you have money there. So I would say just separate your accounts and have your direct deposit automatically go into those accounts, so you don't have to worry about you personally taking that money out and moving it. It will go directly to those accounts. That's part of budgeting. And just stick to the budget with that. That's going to force you to stick to the budget.
Absolutely.
Because direct deposit
100%.
is going there. And then you just make sure you don't have debit cards for those accounts if you don't want to, or you just have it where it's ATM if you need to, or if you do get the debit cards, but you make sure that you use those cards exactly for the accounts that it's supposed to be.
Absolutely. So. And having a separate bank for your savings. That's what we do. So, it's easy to dip in and transfer money from one account to another if all of your accounts are in the same spot. But if you really truly want to master saving, open up a separate account at another bank. Ideally, maybe an online bank where it's not as easy for you to access that money. Don't get a debit card or ATM card for that savings account. And then, like Danielle said, have a transfer go there of 10%, 15%, whatever you think is feasible for you. So that money is basically somewhere where you can't even hardly see it. That's the best way to be able to grow a savings account. And as Danielle alluded to, when it comes to play accounts, right? It's essential that you have disposable income in your budget, that you and your partner can have some type of enjoyment until you get paid again. So I don't even care if it's just $50. Put something to the side so that you guys can have some type of outlet, something, whether it's going out to eat or things like that, because that's going to help tame your psyche so that you're not overspending in other areas.
Yeah, so that's about it. So again, the reason why we're saying this is because this affects relationships. So if you are a man who's dating, you don't want to overspend on the first date. So that's why it's important that you make sure you get with a woman who's not all about money, because she will run your money dry if you are over here trying to take her to a 5-star restaurant, knowing you can't, and knowing 5 stars is not something you can keep up with.
Yeah, don't do that, guys.
All right. And so take her to a place where you can afford. And if you can't afford too many going out to eat, that's why I say going out to eat is not really always an ideal first date, depending on your age. Going to the park, going somewhere where you can, over Starbucks, where you're communicating with the person, so you don't focus on the ambiance or the food. You're focusing on each other and the conversations that you're having, which is why a lot of people are in relationships longer than they should, because you miss all the red flags from what they were, from what you should have been hearing, what they were saying or what they weren't saying. So it's important to use your money wisely and decide what you're going to do with these dates that you go on, whether it's the first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth date. You want to know how to properly use your money. Don't use your money to live a lifestyle you don't have to impress a woman. Same thing for women. Don't live a lifestyle to impress other women. With your, a lot of people like to say, they're high maintenance, they get their hair done, they get their nails, and they do this and they do that. And really, they truly are not, they don't really have the funds to live that lifestyle that they have. It's really to compete with other women around them. And I'm actually a pretty simple person. I don't really care. I'm just now starting to care a little bit more about doing more self-care things, but he'll tell you, I'm like one that's like, my money, I consider that towards other things. And I do get self-care, but some things I just don't really care about. So you'll probably see that. Like, I'm not really big on appearances. So I don't put all of my energy in all of my clothes. So someone may think, oh, well, that's because you just don't have it. No, I just choose not to put that money there. And I think that sometimes people are trying to live up to some expectation that they really can't afford. They say they have this lifestyle, but everything is on credit to give them the lifestyle that they want. And some people, they put all of their money in their cars, but they can't afford to get new tires when they need to, or the gas for the car. So just consider using your money wisely.
Live within your means.
Exactly. Live, and sometimes live below your means if you have to.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
True.
And one thing I'll say is, if you are a two-income household, try to live off of one of the person's income.
Oh, great one, absolutely.
So if one person loses their job or decides they don't want to work anymore, like if the woman doesn't want to work, if she, gets pregnant, doesn't want to work, or if someone decides they want to start their business and actually, be very risky in that, and just quit their job, you want to make sure there's one income, so then you don't have to worry about living off of two people's income and then something happens, especially like how the pandemic. So just consider that. Any other things you have?
Oh, that's it, baby. You said it. You said it good.
All right. Well, thank you for tuning in to Mrs. Danielle DeVita. Like, comment, and subscribe. Take care.
Peace.
Like the ones before us, or you gotta wait